I saw Superman and got a haircut and gained like 20 pounds since the last one of these. My beard doesn't hide the lack of a jaw very well. So yeah, I'm totally gonna not compare this to another particular Superman franchise that came out and is weirdly adored. Except I am, because I liked Man of Steel when that first came out for some reason. But I could never reconcile like why there was so much destruction and shit. But and it always bugged me that he was never very super and heroic. And I liked some things about it, like how he learned to use his like hearing and stuff. But there's a lot wrong with that movie, and I'll get to that at some point. Basically, all that was to say that I liked Joss Whedon's version of that Superman way more than that Superman, because he was like joking and seemed to really try to drive home like hope and heroism, and that he's Superman, which I can't believe was missing from Man of Steel. And all that is also to say that like it didn't take long for my liking of that movie to wear off in a big way. Batman v Superman came out, and Civil War came out at the same time, and I considered them both like 6 out of 10s for different reasons. Beeves, everything was just so dark. It was just like watching two Batmans fight, but one of them had powers, and everything was just stupid and sophomoric and obvious, and the camera shots lingered too long, and there's symbolism was forced, and they tried to backtrack a lot on why he was so destructive the first time and make it the plot, and then be like, this was the plan the whole time. We were setting up Batman to hate him and be racist. Oh right, this is about Superman, the good one. This Superman, the new one, the Corenswet, Cornman, Super Sweatman, he actually was very protective of life. I think some of that was a response to the previous iteration, but he was like how I'd be as Superman, even trying to save the littlest creatures involved. He tried to save a fucking squirrel that was caught in the crossfire of a battle with a giant monster, whose feet he kept catching. And Superman wanted to save that monster. The monster was very dangerous to the city and was fucking things up. And he was purely sent as like a distraction, and it distracted Superman, and he wanted to save it still, even with it blowing the city up. Did I already say that? And there's like a point when he's fighting the Hammer of Baravia. There's gonna be spoilers in this, by the way. AKA Ultraman. Not that Ultraman, but that would be fucking sick. Just imagine him taking the helmet off to see Ultraman's helmet underneath. You're just like, ha! And kills him. What the fuck up? So yeah, the Hammer of Baravia is like shooting a laser, and it's going into the building, and Superman's trying to block it, and eventually he's like, eyes up here, to distract him and get him to shoot upwards while he flies up. That scene bothered Snyderbots a lot. I don't know why. I think it was because there was kind of a dickishness to it, and that meant like confidence, and they probably didn't like that he was confident that he was replacing the piece of shit iteration they had before. The shiteration. There was kind of a little too much humor at times with him, but I will take this very hopeful, optimistic, life-caring man over what we had before, because what came before was Venus. He wasn't punching people through buildings and destroying satellites and letting them rain down on things. I mean, a lot of the destruction in Man of Steel wasn't Superman's fault, but there are things that were pretty problematic, like when an oil tanker gets lobbed at him and it's sliding towards him in Smallville, and he just fucking levitates over it and back down and lets it explode behind him, killing a fucking city block. Who knows how many goddamn squirrels were there, you know? And he was just punching Zod through buildings that could not have been fully evacuated. The city had already been beatered pretty hard by a gravity laser thing, and he's still just smacking Zod through the fucking building. Zod just learned how to fly. You telling me you couldn't control the sky fight better than that? You fucking... I hate you. Also, it had a good Lex Luthor that was bald, and that's important. And he wasn't trying to be the Joker or the Riddler or whatever the fuck Eisenberg was written to be. I mean, it's not really the actor's fault. It's Snyder, I think. wanted him to just be like this quirky, weirdo, eccentric genius. It's kind of a lot like Elon Musk, but, well, smarter, which is not it's a low bar. I don't know who wins in that comparison. But his Lex was just overly poetic with his obvious comparisons of angels and demons and light and dark and shit and poop and piss jars. He blew up some Girardi or something in a fucking courthouse. I don't know. It was an interesting plan, I guess, but this Lex manipulates two countries into fighting each other so that Superman will get involved, and then that will let the government get mad at Superman, so Lex could be like, hire me to kill him. Because the government would totally hire a third-party militia man to deal with a super alien space god. Oh well, it was better than Girardi exploding the courthouse. He was still kind of like a little guy. He wasn't the big buff, ripped peak human that Lex Luthor tries to be, because he wants to be like the best a human can possibly get, and that's also why he hates Superman, because Superman is just automatically better than the best a human can be in terms of fucking everything. But he still had, like, that whole business acumen and ruthlessness. I mean, he kills a fucking guy trying to interrogate Superman when he has him captured. And it was kind of funny because he's playing Russian roulette and he's serious about it. It's not just a threat. And he pulls the trigger and kills the guy in the first time. And he's just like, oh, I didn't expect that to go so soon. I'll be back tomorrow with someone else you care about. Bye. And he had a meat clone of Superman that was basically just a meat robot that he was telling how to fight Superman, which is insane because Superman moves fast and stuff, but he'd been watching him for 3 years and planning out counter moves and things and was directing Ultraman on how to fight Superman. And I like that his clone was imperfect, because Ultraman was a clone of Superman, and he was stronger, according to Lex, but he was very dumb and could not really think for himself, and when fighting on his own, it was out of instinct, really. He needed complete and total direction from Lex and his team, which was also cool. Lex had like a team of people helping him direct things, but comic Lex probably still would have used a team. Fuck me. And the funny thing is, so the movie starts with Superman getting fucking fucked. He comes crashing down, like in the trailer, in the Arctic near his Fortress of Solitude, or Antarctic, or wherever the fuck it is. And he's bleeding internally, clearly, and wheezing, and Crypto is taking him to the fortress. Reminded me of like Toy Maker, how I was talking. And the Snyderbots got mad that the Superman was being beaten. And they were calling him like a wimp and saying like Cavill Man wouldn't have gotten beaten like that. And it's revealed it was the Hammer of Bravia that beat the fuck out of him in an off-screen fight before the start of the movie. And then it's revealed that the Hammer of Bravia isn't some dickhead in a suit. It's a clone dickhead in a suit. It's a stronger Superman with complete and total like strategic advantage over Superman as well. Although really, I think Superman should have been able to think faster than that team, but whatever. I kind of hate artistic license like that. Superman can think faster than everybody and should have really been able to beat her. Counter beater Ultraman, but I'm not as worried about that. Yes, I fucking am. But yeah, he got his meatus schmeated by the Hammer of Bravia, who was just a better him in every way in that situation, and that's why he was dying. Like, he's still pretty strong. James Gunn did say he was meant to be like a weaker version of him, but honestly, he was still, I don't really see any feats that Man of Steel Cavilman did that really entirely... What the fuck did he do? The best thing I can remember is he dragged a boat by a chain to somewhere, but Corenswet Man was stopping monster feet and then stopped the monster from falling down, kind of like gently laid him down. And you see him move like really fast. He's saving this girl from a bunch of cylinder thingies the giant foot monster man was sending from stomping around and shit. Well, and the Justice Gang got involved and kind of made things a mess too, but they were cool. The fucking Cavill Man just kept catching Batman's kryptonite grenades and just getting fucking green jankumed to death, almost. Like, the first one, I guess, you get cocky and you catch it and it explodes in your face, and it's like, alright. Then you get your powers back and you don't fucking let that happen again. Oh, he tossed another grenade near me? Like, maybe keep your distance and start lasering him. But yeah, the Justice Gang was cool. It only had 3 members to start that you see. They even have the Hall of Justice, which like they're moving into. I think it's still having constructed. It had Guy Gardner, Hawkgirl, and Mr. Terrific that we see at first. And I mean, Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner is great. You people for years had wanted him to be Hal Jordan, and he voiced him a few times, I think. But James Gunn kind of twisted things up and made him Guy Gardner, and it was awesome. There's a moment where the Justice Gang goes to save like the country being invaded during that war I mentioned earlier, because Superman can't go save them again. Saving them was a big thing to begin with, like I said, with Lex's plan, but I'll get to that. But Guy Gardner gets there and he's like, Superman sent us, so regrets he can't help you, but you get an upgrade. And then he's just killing a bunch of tanks with like middle finger projections and stuff. Like, he's just an asshole and is a hothead. He even almost fights Superman at one point, but it was a nice little twist. And then there's Hawkgirl. She did like a screech and everybody, Snyderbots hate it, or somebody hates it because Hawks don't screech, I guess. But it was well done. Like, she would just be like, just like that. Like, the effects behind it were cool. And it was actually pretty intimidating because it's like, fuck, the giant winged girl with a fucking mace is coming at me screeching like that. Like, that's intimidating as fuck. And she was like apathetic, it seemed, because, well, so was Guy, because when Superman's captured by Lex, well, Superman turned himself in, I'll get to that. She's kind of just like not as concerned as she should be, and neither is Guy Gardner. Lois does talk them into helping eventually, but first she gets Mr. Terrific to help, and then the others kind of, well, they don't really help. What the fuck were they doing? Mr. Terrific goes and helps break Superman out. Huh, they just didn't care, I guess. Maybe they were interviewing Peacemaker in that one scene in the Peacemaker season 2 trailer, but they just weren't like super worried about it. I think Hawkgirl even like drops onto a couch to play with her phone or something some more. They were just, I don't know. It's so weird seeing them be so like blah about everything. They helped when like disasters hit because Terrific, Hawkgirl, and Guy Gardner fight that giant monster, and Terrific blows it up with some T-spheres, and Superman's all sad about that because he wanted to take it somewhere. And Mr. Terrific was awesome, and I didn't know till recently he was the guy from First Class who just got destroyed, even though his power was not getting destroyed. They just fucking wrote him out in a poopy way, and this was a big redemption for him, like in a big upgrade. Unlike when Cyclops went from Marvel to DC and became random dad man who wasn't even a real dad.